Hello and welcome. Today let's take a look at how we can get rid of negative prompts programmed into our subconscious. Negative prompts are basically programmings or just negative thoughts that we adopt or we are told about us, right, from a very young age, usually. Negative things that we tend or we take with us to adulthood, and we believe them even though they actually do not define us, right? These are just negative things that we acquire of ourselves, right? Usually these sort of negative prompts or programmings, unfortunately, we take them from our environment. Sometimes our own parents give us these negative prompts, friends, right? Even teachers sometimes telling us that we're not good enough, we'll never amount to anything, we cannot succeed in life, and we carry these things with us to adulthood, sometimes subconsciously, not really knowing that they actually have a subconscious influence in us, right? And that's why sometimes we have these negative feelings, we have these negative influences. But usually these sort of things are the type of things that are embedded in our subconscious, and we do not, unfortunately, also we do not know how to actually get rid of them, and so that we can feel or just have a better positive image and positive patterns in general that leaders can at least lead us into better positive lifestyle. So the first thing is to try and recognize some of these thought patterns, these negative thoughts, these negative prompts. If maybe you are failing in certain aspects of life, it's a matter of introspecting and thinking what's happening, right? Why aren't able to do certain things? So this can also be because of your programming, right? Certain things you're made to believe about yourself that are actually negative. Now, if you can nail these sort of thoughts, right, these prompts or programming down to whatever it is, right, then you can at least have a basis of where you can start. And this way you can also have a much more realistic way of approaching this, and then you can obviously then replace these thoughts with much more positive thoughts. Doing this you'll also have to obviously try your level best to work with a professional, right? A therapist or just a counselor can be effective, even though a lot of the times you can do this on your own, even though it will take much more time and energy to do this if you're going to do it on your own, to get rid of these negative thought patterns and all this negative programming, right? It's much easier or much better to do it with someone who is much more advanced in such things, such as a therapist and a counselor, right? It's highly advised, but you can also do this on your own, though it will take much more longer and be a bit harder. Now, some of the things you can implement so to get rid of these prompts is doing things like positive affirmations. Positive affirmations particularly good because they actually counteract the negative prompts. And affirmation is basically when you tell yourself that you can actually do something. You actually counteracting those negative thoughts by telling yourself, or just trying to be much more positive and seeing a much more positive image of yourself. And this way you're able to counter those negative thought patterns, right? So in actuality, you are reprogramming yourself in a positive way. Affirmation, telling yourself that whatever you've been told about yourself that's negative, whatever you think of yourself that is negative, like telling yourself you cannot do certain things, or even comparing yourself to certain people, right? All those are negative thought patterns. You counter them with affirmations, and repeating these affirmations, right, positive ones, you're more likely to replace those negative ones, right? There's plenty of positive affirmations out there. Just Google positive affirmations, and then choose ones that will be particularly useful to you, so that you can use these affirmations, right, in a regular basis. It's also important to note that when you are using affirmations, right, you don't just stop at encouraging yourself or just telling yourself these positive things, right? They have to be followed up by action, and I always encourage action after doing these things. If you're going to say that you are able to do something, right, maybe something someone before heading discouraged you to do it, and you have that willingness to do it, and you tell yourself first that I can do such a thing, I have the ability, right? Now that's the positive affirmation, but you follow that up with actionable steps that will actually take you or make you be able to actually do this, whatever you are encouraging yourself to do. So you shouldn't fall in the patterns of just talking about or just affirming yourself in a positive. Make sure that is followed by action. If you don't do that, take action, it will be the same as someone who just prays and actually doesn't go out there and do something. Maybe you're praying for having a job, right? And you're not even going out there and asking for interviews or just seeking out a job, and you think a job would just fall on your lap. It's not going to happen. What you have to do is you're going to pray, but at the same time you are walking around with your CV and actually asking for jobs, and interviews, right? So doing that, now you'll be more likely to actually get a job and not just sit and think that that job will come to you. Okay, another positive things you can actually do is visualizing something. Visualization, you can visualize yourself in a positive outcome, right? Whatever that you would like to succeed in, whatever that you'd like to complete in life, visualize it. You're bringing that into your subconscious so you can actually see yourself. Visualize the scenario that you'd like in life. Visualize what are the things that you want to attract. And the main thing of visualizing, you are now conditioning your mind to focus on positive rather than the negative. Remember, we're visualizing what we want. We want to feel things. We want to see the things that we want that will help us or enhance our livelihood, right? So by visualizing, you are more likely to think yourself in a positive way, and you are now conditioning yourself to be positive instead of just being negative all the time. Another aspect of reprogramming your subconscious is gratitude. People usually do not practice gratitude, and I think this is another reason they're always in a negative mindset. If you're not happy with what you have at the moment, don't think that at the end of the day you'll be happy with more things. You have to be grateful and have gratitude for the things that you have, no matter how little, right? Then you will learn how to appreciate whatever you have. And that comes by practicing gratitude. And with this comes a much more positive attitude, and you're basically going to have a much more positive subconscious mindset, and that's what we're looking for. So gratitude should be a regular for you. Just be thankful for what you have, and don't worry much for what you don't have. What you don't have, you can always get if you work for it. But what you have, you have to work with. You have to work with whatever you have at that moment. Another aspect will be a much more healthy lifestyle. Just making healthy lifestyle choices. And obviously, these goes without saying. The usual that I usually preach are exercises, balanced diet, and adequate sleep. That's the usual. That's the basis. Having that sort of lifestyle, adequate sleep, a balanced diet, and exercises, these usually improve greatly. They improve your overall mental health. And when your mental health and your physical health is good, you're much more likely to feel better of yourself, right? And this usually does combat negative subconscious. Remember, once you feel better for yourself, then you're just basically going to attract much more positive vibes on you, and you're going to combat negative subconscious prompts. All those negative things will diminish, right? That's if you're actually consistent with this, because we live in a world where there's so much negativity, right? People are negative. People want you to be negative because they're miserable. So, as the saying goes, misery loves company. So, if you feel better about yourself, make sure first of all you also try and avoid misery. Avoid miserable people, because they will bring you down, and then just go with the flow of your positivity that you have created about you, right? And just move with that positivity, and so that you can attract more positive vibes, and your negative subconscious and those negative programming will kind of diminish. And I say kind of because this actually takes time. It won't just be overnight. You have to be consistent with this, remember. And my last point here I'd like to say is to actually seek professional help. A lot of us, we do have a lot of problems, a lot of things to actually work on, but because we do not have that habit of seeking help, right? Usually because of ego, and because we feel like things are okay, or always going to be okay. But to tell you the truth, not always, right? Things do get worse at times if we do not work on them, right? So seeking professional help, right? Therapist, psychologist, counselor, or just someone who you know can actually help you out on certain stuff, all right? People who can actually impact your life positively. This will improve greatly your situation, you see, because most of the time professionals and counselors and people who can help you can actually personalize and strategize your support, so they can actually tell you how you can go about this. And doing it on your own usually is tough. It's the toughest route to go, but getting help is very crucial and essential, so that you know you have someone who can actually help you about this. Now, this person that you can seek help from does really not always need to be a professional, right? But I do really recommend a professional. But then, because times we cannot afford such, All right, just get someone who's sensible, someone who can actually help you, and you know that person can actually help you positively. Always insist on that. And to wrap up, remember, all this needs consistency and patience. These are key. Changing your subconscious, getting rid of negative prompts and negative programming patterns. This takes time. You may have to do all sort of trial and error, a lot of reading, a lot of research, a lot of listening, just things that will help you. And you have also to persist and put in effort. Without any effort, without any work, putting in that work and effort, then you're not likely to get the results that you want. But being patient and being consistent, then eventually you will get to a much more better and positive outcome. And with that said, I'm going to end there for today's podcast, and peace.